The verse of the day is Colossians 1:8, and it says, "He has told us about the love for others that the Holy Spirit has given you." To give a little context, today's verse is a follow-up from the verse in front of it, which says that a man named Epaphras was the one who spread the good news to the Colossae people. So today's verse is saying he, as in Epaphras, told Paul about the love for others that the Holy Spirit has given the people of Colossae. So he's basically just saying, hey, we've heard about the love that you have from the Holy Spirit. This verse stood out to me because it said the love for others that the Holy Spirit has given you. I think that speaks a lot than just how the Colossae people are acting. I think it speaks to what the Holy Spirit does. I think it speaks to what it means to believe in Jesus in the whole thing, really. God is love, right? When Adam and Eve fell and sin entered the world, we had to learn how to get back to love. We got separated from love. Sin separates us from love. Sin brings death to our soul, with death to our identity, death to the things that are good for us, death in our connection with God. When we pursue love, we get to come back to our most pure form. We get to be freely ourselves, who we were meant to be. And the only way we can actually become that, the only way we can actually have love for others and have pure love for ourselves is through the Holy Spirit. That's why Jesus had to come. Jesus had to come because you and I couldn't get to that pure form without Jesus coming. We couldn't have power over sin without Jesus doing what he did on that cross, because he took all sin and he died with it, he defeated it, and he rose again. And you and I wouldn't have the power of the Holy Spirit if it weren't for Jesus rising again, because he left his spirit that is still alive, that rose again and never died. So he's been alive since the day he rose again and left that spirit on earth for you and I to continue to become more alive in who we are, to continue to spread the news so that other people can become alive in who they are, become more like Jesus. I just think it's a really good perspective that in order to love people, you have to have the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is what develops true love within your heart for other people. The Holy Spirit is what keeps us out of jealousy and judgment and unforgiveness and resentment and hatred and bitterness and all of that icky stuff. The only way we can stay away from that and work to stay away from it, which, by the way, we can't work to get out of it in our own strength. We need the Holy Spirit. We need the power of God to defeat that kind of sin, because we're fighting more than just a bad perspective or a bad mood or bad habits. We're fighting spiritual things, spiritual powers, darkness in the world. This is why we couldn't overcome sin without what Jesus did. Because God saw we kept falling short. We kept getting condemned because we weren't strong enough to defeat evil in our own power. But the only person who can, God, did. And so he proved that to the world so that you and I could have access to that same power. And so we get to become more like love. The more we pursue the heart of God, the more we develop relationship with Jesus, the Holy Spirit will heal our heart, help us get rid of unworthiness or insecurity or the fear or the doubt, give us truth, help us to understand that God really does complete our heart, really does help us not be lonely, really does help us get strategy and vision and clarity about our true identity. And it's from that place of getting filled and healed and whole that we're able to give that same love to the people around us, that we're able to love other people well because we're experiencing unconditional love into our heart. And so we're able to overflow that love into the people around us. I think it's so easy to look at yourself and be like, why don't I have love for this person? Why do I feel irritated by this person? Why am I just bothered by people? Why do I not have the love? I want to be more loving, but it's really hard for me. That's It's human nature. Human nature is selfish. Human nature falls into judgment and all of the things that make you not like people and be bothered by people. God is the only one that can see humanity through a pure lens because he understands that every human on the planet isn't their struggle. We are all not our sin. We are all not our irritating tendencies, because God is able to see us separate from those irritating tendencies or separate from our sin, because we were never created with those things in mind. We were only created to be out of sin, the most pure version of us. And it's harder for you and I to see people that way because we just see them for what they're doing and how they're acting. And we can't see in the spiritual realm like God does. So he can easily separate it and have unconditional love because he knows our struggle isn't flesh and blood. Our struggle is a lot deeper, is a lot more spiritual than most people think. So when we remember having that true, genuine love for others, time and time again, no matter how much you get hurt or experience pain or betrayal or any of those feelings, it's not going to become pure, and you're not going to be able to maintain that love without the power of the Holy Spirit purifying your heart, making your heart look more like Jesus, getting rid of the parts of us that are sinful and selfish. The only way we can have pure love for others is because of the Holy Spirit. And so I love this verse because it just gives credit to the Holy Spirit. It says, we've heard about your love for others that the Holy Spirit has given you. If you want more love for others, pursue Jesus, pursue relationship with Jesus, because that will be the byproduct of you doing that. You will bear love. The fruit of the Holy Spirit is love, peace, joy, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, self-control. The more you pursue the heart of Jesus, relationship with Jesus, the more your heart will be full of that kind of fruit, and the more love, joy, peace, patience, kindness you will have for other people. And this is how you and I are able to be vessels of God, examples of Jesus, because we have the Spirit of Jesus in our heart helping us look more like him. It's all dependent on our desire to look more like him. It's all dependent on our obedience to follow how he calls us to live, because it's through obedience that we bear more fruit. And again, it's not like you're only worthy of good fruit if you are obedient, as if like the obedience comes before the love. It's like, no, you're 100% loved first. And it's through feeling that unconditional love that you want to follow how God calls you to live. And then it's through walking out obedience that you see more and more fruit bear from your life, because you understand the obedience keeps you separate from sin, or helps us to the best of our ability, because obviously none of us are perfect. But today's verse just reminds me to develop relationship with God, because that will help me have more love for others and myself, and help me to just be a good example of him. Okay?